No one loves a fat girl, sir. But I can cook, whispered the settler woman, the rancher's reply. In the dusty heart of Texas, where the sun burned gold and men rode with pride, a quiet woman named Clara arrived at a lonely ranch. Her hands were rough from labor, her dress simple, and her body fuller than most women dared to be. The townsfolk whispered behind her back, mocking her shape, her silence, and her dreams. One evening, when the rancher, a hardened man named Jack, told her he needed help with cooking and cattle, Clara said softly, "No one loves a fat girl, sir. But I can cook." Jack froze. He had seen beauty before, but never bravery like this. He didn't know that this woman, shunned by many, would change his ranch. And his heart. What followed was a story of dignity, pain, and unexpected love, born not from beauty, but from the courage to stay kind in a cruel world. The morning Clara arrived, the ranchers barely looked up from their work. Dust swirled in the air as she stepped off the wagon, clutching a small suitcase and a cast-iron pan. The men laughed under their breath, another woman trying to survive out here. But Clara didn't flinch. She'd heard those laughs her whole life. At 29, she'd lost her family to a storm that swept through the plains. She'd buried her past and carried only what she knew best, the art of feeding souls through her food. The ad for a ranch cook had promised pay and shelter, and that was enough. Jack Turner, the ranch owner, was a tall, broad man with a scar down his cheek, the kind who spoke little but noticed everything. When he first saw Clara, he hesitated. She wasn't the kind of woman men in his world admired. Her dress was plain, her figure round, and her eyes, tired, but full of warmth. He cleared his throat. "You sure you can handle work out here? It's not easy." Clara looked him in the eye and said softly, "I'm used to hard work, sir. Folks don't love me for how I look. But I can cook, and I can keep a place running." The men snickered, but Jack didn't smile. Something in her voice, steady, proud, silenced him. He nodded once. "Then you start today." That evening, the ranch house filled with the smell of fresh bread, roasted beef, and apple pie. The workers, used to dry beans and burnt stew, couldn't believe their luck. But Clara stayed quiet, serving them before she ate. When the night fell, Jack found her outside, staring at the stars. He approached slowly, unsure what to say. Finally, he murmured, "They liked your food." Clara smiled faintly. "That's good enough for me." But deep down, Jack felt something stirring, a strange respect he hadn't felt in years. If this story touched your heart, remember. Real beauty isn't about how someone looks, but how they love, endure, and give. Like, share, and subscribe for more heart-touching life stories that remind us what truly matters. Days turned into weeks, and Clara's cooking became the talk of the town. But so did the gossip. Jack hired a fat woman, they'd sneer. Can't he find someone proper? Clara heard it all but never replied. Instead, she poured her pain into her food. Each pie she baked carried pieces of her silence. One afternoon, while hauling water from the well, she slipped and fell. The ranch hands laughed until Jack came running. He helped her up gently, brushing dust from her hands. "Don't listen to them," he said gruffly. Clara looked away, whispering, "It's fine, sir. No one loves a fat girl. I've made peace with that." Jack's jaw tightened. "Then they're fools," he muttered. "They can't see what's worth loving." After that day, something changed. Jack started joining her in the kitchen, asking about her recipes, watching her hum as she cooked. He noticed the kindness in every motion, the care she took for everyone around her. When storms hit, it was Clara who kept everyone fed and calm. When sickness came, she nursed the ranch hands back to health. Slowly, the laughter died down. Respect replaced mockery, and Jack? Well, he found himself waiting for her smile every morning. One evening, as the sun dipped below the hills, Jack asked Clara to stay behind after dinner. The air smelled of rain and cinnamon. He looked at her for a long time before speaking. "You once said no one loves a fat girl," he began quietly. "You were wrong." Clara froze. Her hands trembled slightly. "Don't jest with me, sir. I've lived long enough to know better." Jack took a step closer. "I'm not jesting. You came here when no one else dared. You work harder than any man I know. You cook, you care, you listen, and you make this place feel like home. If that's not lovable, I don't know what is." Tears welled in Clara's eyes. For the first time, someone saw beyond her body, saw her. He reached out, gently taking her hand. "Clara, I don't want just your cooking. I want your company. Stay, not as my cook, but as my partner." She covered her mouth, unable to speak. Then, through quiet tears, she whispered, "No one's ever said that to me before." Jack smiled softly. "Then it's about time someone did." The ranch winds carried the smell of bread that night, but there was something new too, hope. The same men who once mocked her now tipped their hats with respect. And Clara, the woman no one once loved, became the heart of the Turner Ranch.